Behind every great investor is an outstanding team. Today, we're going to dive into the team that every real estate investor needs when investing in commercial properties. I'm Tyler Cobble, and welcome back to my channel where each week we're dropping more videos on commercial real estate investing strategies, leasing and management tips, market updates, and more. Having the right team put together will help provide coverage on all aspects of the investment process, from inspections in the pre-acquisition phase to assembling the proper paperwork at closing. If you're going to be investing in real estate, it's crucial to surround yourself with the professionals that will help take you and your portfolio to the next level. Here are the professions that make up my real estate investing power team. Up first, the commercial real estate broker. Commercial real estates bring a number of the benefits of having an expert in your corner. An experienced commercial broker will know the market through and through, and they can help you meet your goals while staying true to your budget. Brokers are the front line in the search for sites, so let your broker do the heavy lifting. While you're taking care of your business, your broker can handle all of the grunt work associated with vetting a property and negotiating a contract. Instead of having to call every possible option, set up tours, then make decisions based on comps, your broker will help narrow your choices without your presence and bring you in to see only the best options. So your broker finds a space, you sit back and relax. They're also invaluable during negotiations. After you choose a property, the negotiations begin, and this is where a broker's knowledge is particularly helpful. Commercial real estate is nothing like residential real estate. Every commercial property is different, and almost everything is negotiable. Brokers know market value and can help you determine fair market prices, as well as what you should watch out for during your initial review. And the best part is they won't cost you a dime. Commercial brokers are generally paid like residential agents, so instead of the buyer having to cover their representation, the seller will be responsible for paying the broker's fee. This style of compensation is especially helpful for newer commercial real estate investors. You have enough expenses to worry about. In other words, your broker knows the market, will help you find the site, negotiate on your behalf, and keep pulling everything in the right direction and won't cost you anything. In fact, using a knowledgeable broker will usually save you money because they review the contract and will cover the big points with you while saving you the time of diving into the small and generally unimportant issues. Next is your commercial real estate attorney. Regardless of the type of property or size of the deal, you should have an attorney review the legal documents. Your attorney is a legal shield for you against everything that could go wrong. And if you've ever done anything in real estate, you certainly know that there is plenty that can go wrong. Attorneys constantly have your legal interests in mind. Buying and selling commercial property is complicated. There are a number of contracts, documents, and other moving pieces that can trip you up along the way. Not to mention they review the zoning of the property and environmental reports. At every step along the way, the attorney will be ensuring that any potential pitfalls will be at the very least made known to you and hopefully amended. They're also critical during negotiations. Just like brokers, attorneys are involved in negotiating contracts on a daily basis, and many attorneys are highly skilled wordsmiths. Combine the two, and that makes a fairly skilled negotiator. Attorneys are well aware of what are and aren't market requests during negotiations, and they can properly advise you as to whether or not you should accept any proposed terms. So how does your attorney get paid? Well, attorneys can charge flat rate or hourly fees, and sometimes both depending on the situation. Your broker or a trusted advisor can suggest a real estate attorney who's good at bringing parties together and actually making deals happen. Unfortunately, there are many attorneys out there who will try to find everything wrong with a deal so they can bill you all along the way or just sink a deal. You may also be able to have an attorney review everything for a flat fee depending on the size of the contract, but most commercial real estate attorneys will charge hourly. You may also need a solid building inspector. The building inspector's responsibility is pretty straightforward. They inspect the property. Unless you've been investing in commercial real estate for years and know construction inside and out, you should always have a property inspected before closing. After the inspection, your vendor should provide you with a fairly detailed list of the property conditions, which will help you further understand what you're buying. Inspectors are a nice set of objective eyes. To the inspectors, it doesn't really matter if you buy the property or not. Their job is simply to shine light on the nooks and crannies within the building that you likely haven't seen yourself and point out any pros and cons to the conditions. It's certainly helpful to have someone on your team that won't be sugarcoating any issues at this point in the process. If the inspector recommends replacement or repairs, you should heavily consider those recommendations because they don't have a dog in this fight. Now, what do you do if the tenant is responsible? Well, Now, in many multi-story office leases, the owner will typically take all responsibility in a full-service gross lease, so your inspection is crucial. But what if your acquisition has ground floor retail or office on any sort of net lease? Well, depending on how that lease is worded, the tenant may be responsible for most, if not all of the maintenance and repairs on the property. Even in this case, you should lean towards an inspection. At some point in the future, that tenant may not renew their lease, and you could be inheriting a vacant space with some serious conditional issues. So it's better to know and prepare for that on the front end. These inspection reports can also give you negotiation leverage. A building inspector will examine the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems and prepare a report covering everything from the crawl space to the roof. You can then use this report in your negotiation with the seller if you feel it justifies a price reduction and to help plan the space to fit your needs. A good building inspector is worth the price you'll pay for their expertise. They'll also usually save you money and definitely headache by making recommendations that you can have the seller fix or discount off the purchase price before you take control of the property. It's always better to have a complete picture of your new space, for better or worse. Now, here's an inspections bonus. When performing your inspections, you'll also want to dig into and understand the site as well. Sure, the building, if the property isn't vacant, is very important, but at this point in the game, the site can actually determine whether or not you move forward. You may also want to have a survey shot, perform a phase 1 environmental, test the soils with geotech, and engage a civil engineer to review the site. Not every property will need each of these inspections, so it's important to know when to take that next step. Then you have your general contractor. Having the right general contractor can make all the difference to your bottom line. They hire the subcontractors and oversee any new construction or renovation work on the site while hopefully sticking to your timeline and budget. It may be worth finding a GC that also invests in commercial real estate since they'll understand your goals. Finding the right contractor for your project doesn't have to be difficult, but spending some time will be worth it if you can find a good one. Brokers, attorneys, and inspectors all work with contractors routinely and can provide you with referrals if you don't already have one in mind. Make sure your GC has the reputation for completing jobs on time and that he pulls the permits necessary for the scope of work. I've seen plenty of contractors attempt to cut corners, meaning everything may not be built to code. You also want to be sure that they have a commercial license. The type of GC that you hire is critical in avoiding potential complications. Just as there are different types of real estate agents, there are also residential and commercial contractors, and the two types are fairly different. Commercial contractors follow a different set of codes and use different materials, such as a commercial grade flooring that is designed to withstand the heavy traffic without falling apart. I've seen what can happen when residential materials are utilized on commercial projects, and it's not pretty. Commercial contractors are aware of your specific needs and will build to suit them. And let's not forget about your commercial lending partner. Having the right commercial lender working on your deal is critical. They will likely be writing the biggest check out of anyone on your deal, so your loan originator is one of the more important members of your team. Just like every other business on this list, you'll have to deal with a lender that specializes specifically in commercial real estate lending. Now, you should also always have multiple lending options. Never go into a deal with just one bank in mind. Sure, you may have your favorite, we all do, but every bank will have a different appetite for certain assets at any given time. Bank A might have too much retail in their portfolio and will turn you down simply because of that, while Bank B may be aggressively looking to add retail, so it's smart to shop around. I also like to have a backup option just in case everything falls through at the last moment, which unfortunately isn't uncommon. You should keep in mind too that commercial lending is heavily based on relationships. Banks like to do business with individuals that they know, like, and trust. It's in your best interest to start cultivating this relationship long before you need any money lent to you. Reach out to local banks in your area. They're likely going to be one of the most aggressive and knowledgeable options for the types of product and areas where you'll be investing. Here's a pro tip. If you're interested in getting loans from a certain bank, go open some accounts with them. Doing so will help you build up a history with the bank and will make it easier for them to qualify you for a loan. When should you start talking to a bank? Engage them as early as possible. The sooner you can get a lender looking into your project, the better. They will need to review your financial strength, hand it over to their underwriting team to vet the project, and order an appraisal in order to ensure they're making the right decision by giving you money. You don't want to get too far down the road in your due diligence only to realize that the bank won't be able to secure your loan in time for closing. Now, you do have one final option, which is hard money lending. Hard money lending is based largely on the value of the asset instead of the guarantors, so they can typically move much faster to help you get a loan to close on your property. However, they will charge you for it. I've gotten quotes from hard money lenders in the 3 points and 15 range, meaning they charge you 3% of the total value of the loan up front as their fee and 15% annual interest. If you're in a bind, there are times when hard money loans can make sense, but certainly not for every deal. No matter who's on your team, make sure you hire right the first time. It can be tempting to cut corners, I totally get it, especially at a time when you need the cash to run your business. Maybe you want to get by without an attorney or ask your handy brother-in-law to check out the property instead of hiring an inspector. Don't do it. Hiring experienced professionals will save you money in the long run. Sure, you gotta spend now, but you're gonna save later. There's a reason your broker recommends a professional inspection. Chances are they've seen what happens when the investor doesn't know all of the potential pitfalls inherent in the property. Likewise, attorneys and other real estate professionals are there to protect you. Arm yourself with the professionals who will make sure you know what you're getting into, and you'll face fewer surprises during your investment. Once you've gotten your team put together, it's time to go out and find your next real estate investment. Check out this video here with my 7 strategies to actually finding a deal, and I'll see you there.